Ahoy folks, Craigo here with our hands-on impressions of the Plucky Squire, which I got to play last week during Summer Game Fest. We were excited for this one, so let's jump right in.
After a bracing trek across the wilds of Mojo, Jot and Thrash arrived at Trog Mountain.
Every so often, a game is announced that really speaks to us. The Plucky Squire was one of those. It had been 730 days, 2 whole years since it was first revealed at 2022's Devolver Digital. You know, not like we're counting or anything. So obviously we were delighted to sit down with All Possible Futures co-founder James Turner at Devolver's epic Summer Game Fest Playdays booth and get hands-on with the game. The Plucky Squire is an adventure game introduced to us as a children's book. For a little under an hour, and with our charming new companion James Turner by our side, we explored the delights packed into a section of Chapter 6. Our preview began with the Plucky Squire Jot and their companion Thrash in 2D form attempting to scale a mustache-adorned Trog Mountain. Their mission? End the bother caused by the book's evil antagonist Humgrump, who had grown so fed up with losing to Jot that they kicked him out of his own story and into the real world. After a few initial in-game steps, we were faced with a far-stretching chasm, too large for our plucky heroes to cross. It was here that our narrative could have ended, if this adventure was confined to paper. Thankfully, Jot is able to survive outside the confines of his flat-as-a-pancake world and journey into our reality. It was this concept that initially piqued our interest back in 2022, and experiencing it firsthand was very satisfying indeed. We'd be remiss to not mention that the Plucky Squire clearly draws inspiration from the Legend of Zelda franchise, namely Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, in which Link was able to slip his way into walls and paintings. Having played through a number of Link's adventures ourselves, the Plucky Squire's gameplay felt familiar, natural, and transferable. If you've ever played any 3D platforming game, you'll find the traversal and combat pretty straightforward. The aptly named Jot's sword is shaped like a quill, and swinging it around in the name of artistic expression is both simple and fun. As we started our demo in Chapter 6, Jot felt like an experienced sword fighter already. We could execute a 360 spin attack, ground slam, and a rather satisfying boomerang toss attack. These were readily available in both the 2D and 3D sections of the game. Right off the bat, it was clear that All Possible Futures wanted the Plucky Squire to be enjoyed by the whole family, regardless of skill or ability. This is reflected in the game's difficulty options: Adventure Mode for the bold and brash heroes, and Story Mode for the unsung heroes who fancy an easier ride. Story Mode also tweaks damage sliders in your favor and offers you the ability to skip trickier sections of the game. We were also aided by one of the Plucky Squire's coolest characters, Moonbeard, who was on hand to dish out hints or direct us if needed. We actually didn't need Moonbeard's help for most of our session, but having him there was comforting all the same. Plus, his beard was cool. Jot's 3D adventure takes place in a child's messy bedroom. In the demo, we traversed a cluttered desk, guided by towering books, mugs, and trinkets. On our journey, we noted a book titled Machines of Mayhem, which seemed to be missing its cover model. According to James, this is because Humgrump enlisted a bunch of big scary machines to unleash pandemonium in the Plucky Squire and disrupt Jot's quest to restore creativity. Anyway, just as quickly as we were able to jump from Jot's 2D origins to the new 3D world, we were pulled back into the storybook. The page turned, revealing a land filled with glamrock bunnies and Sign of the Horn-shaped topiary. This quick shift between realities should feel jarring and obstructive, but as the Plucky Squire is all about the dissonance between creativity and anti-creativity, flipping between reality and a heavy metal-inspired environment in which we swap mini Baphomet rams felt like a perfect parallel. Remember those missing machines of mayhem? Well, as we were making headway through the mountains of Trog, our progress was halted by a gnarly chainsaw gate. To progress, Jot had to leap from the page and onto the desk, using one of the game's glowing transition symbols and scour reality for a special item capable of disrupting that pesky machine. Our time with the demo and Jot came to a close once we'd helped an adorable baby rocket collect pieces of Daddy Rocket, which were hidden on the messy desk. Once we'd completed this quest, we were awarded with a stamp, the special item needed to progress the narrative back in the storybook. We entered the Plucky Squire's Playdays booth with high hopes and big expectations. For 45 minutes, we were giggling, smiling, and asking James all sorts of questions like, will we ever see the kid who owns the book? And although he said no, James did say, in the future, the boy who owns the book is going to become a famous author by his own rights, because he's so inspired by the Plucky Squire. But if Humgrump, the bad wizard, takes over the book, then it will become a much more boring book. He will lose his inspiration and it might change his future path. So there's a story outside of the book that you don't see directly. There's a lesson in there for us all, don't you think? Whilst we might not have a release date for the Plucky Squire on Xbox Series X and S outside of 2024, we here at Pure Xbox had a lot of fun and are biting at the bit for our next go on All Possible Future's enchanting adventure. Let us know in the comments below if you're looking forward to the Plucky Squire. All that's left to say is bye-bye for now. Cheerio!